Just a robot.
If you are new to my channel, then you probably should watch these two videos first. Otherwise, you'll probably be confused. Just a quick recap of what's going on. So I went on vacation to visit my sister in North Carolina, but because of that, I didn't have very much time to work on a video. So instead of doing a serious political video like I normally do, I decided to do a video on top 11 Pokemon that could destroy the world. Another YouTuber by the name of Doodletones did a response video to me, and she completely missed the point of my video entirely. She herself didn't like her own video, so I decided to do a response to it. At first I thought this would be one of my least controversial videos ever, but boy was I wrong! A whole bunch of commentators started making videos about me. My fans started attacking Doodletones, and both me and her ended up making videos telling our fans not to attack one another. This is where things should have ended. But Doodletones made another video talking about the drama. I decided not to make a video about it, because I knew if I did, a whole bunch of people would start yelling at me, "Oh, just a robot! You just have to get the last word in, don't you? This drama was going to be over once and for all, but you just brought it back." Or something like that. So I decided to let her have the last word. But then, about a month later, she made another video about the drama. So I decided to make another video about this whole thing. Who knows what will happen? Maybe this will end things once and for all, or maybe this will make everything 10 times worse. In this video, I will be responding to most of the people who have made videos about me. Now I am going to edit out some clips of certain videos, mainly because a lot of them repeat the same points. Let's begin with this video right here.
Mr. Warbuds, how you can stand your fans attacking the Doodletones for negative views? I mean, seriously.
Wow, that was the worst jump cut I've ever seen. Learn how to edit. Also, get yourself a microphone screen. You're breathing on the microphone so much I can smell it. And I don't even have nostrils.
I mean, seriously, because you act like a 2-year-old. You act like freaking a la-la lover.
So at first I was thinking, what is a la-la lover? Is it someone who likes la-la? What even is la-la? But eventually I figured out that la-la lover was a person who Fluid apparently has a beef with.
Do you want to know what happened to me because of you? I actually cried. And when I told you, you just didn't care.
One of my fans researched this for me and told me that I should say, "Aha! This proves that Doodletones is a bad person, because this is what our fans do. They make little girls cry." But no, I'm not going to do that, and I'm going to tell you why. First of all, you cannot control who is a fan of you. Just because your fans do something bad doesn't mean you did something bad. Second, I don't think Fluid is a bad person either. You almost never know how people are going to react when you do a video on them. They could take it well, they could get angry, or they could cry about it. But just because someone cries about something, it doesn't make them a saint. I know it's a little weird that I'm bringing this up, but I'm pretty sure that in the future I'm going to do a video on someone, and they're going to make a video crying their eyes out.
You seriously started doing this to Doodle? Or basically anybody to make a video of you? It's just a video, and video, it just criticizes you because you're not always white.
She is correct, I am not always white. In Tuesday mornings, I'm Mexican. On Wednesday, I'm Jewish. I hate it when that happens. And on Friday nights, I'm black. And before the commentary community loses their shit and yells at me that she said right and not white, yes, I know, chill out, it's just a joke, and yes, I do know that I'm not always right.
I get it, you have fans, but you don't even use your fans to attack them. It just makes no sense. You act like a freaking 2-year-old.
I have never sent my fans to attack someone else. I have never said, "Go attack this person, dislike their video, and call them a meanie stinky doo-doo face in the comments." Even if I tell my fans not to attack someone, some of them might still do it. I'm going to skip the rest of her video, mainly because she doesn't make a single argument, and also the video's really short. But I do love what she said in the description. Spam your fans at me, robot. I don't care. Even though in her video on La La Lover, she disabled the comments and ratings. For someone who says they don't care, you do seem to care. So you know what, Fluid? I'm not going to send my fans to attack you. In fact, I'm going to encourage them not to. I'm not even going to link your video down below. Okay, let's move on to the next person.
Okay, I am a big fan of Jar because there's something wrong of this commentary.
You're a big fan of me because there's something wrong with my video? Okay, to each his own, I suppose. But in all seriousness, I think the guy meant to say but instead of because.
Number one, I'm going to try this commentary to unscript it because I don't have the script to prove it.
So, you're doing this video unscripted because you don't have the script to prove it? What? Now, before a whole bunch of people say, hey, you should be focusing on what he's saying, not how he's talking. Now, granted, that is a fair point. However, I have no clue what he's saying.
Actually, I am not doing the right thing of my voice. So, my voice stands.
It is very impressive that your voice can stand. My voice can't even get out of bed.
Having a robot voice? Fine, have your robot voice. And I don't care, Actually, my voice has a special ability.
Your voice has special abilities? Whoa, guys, I think we discovered the Dragonborn.
Well, I see a bunch of anime you do for the proof for Electro, so yeah, give it more proof next time if you have a couple of Pokemon research.
Okay, so he made this point after I showed the 4 Electrobe explosions from the anime, but it sounds to me like he wants even more proof. Now, I don't know for sure if that's what he's asking, but it sounds like that's what he's saying. And if it is what he's saying, then how much proof do you need? To all my fans out there, please don't attack this person. I think he might have a disability, or maybe English is not his first language, or something like that. Attacking someone for those reasons is a bit too low. I was actually considering not even responding to this guy, but I thought I should, just to really tell this guy, bro, what I'm giving you is pretty nice. Just be careful out there, because you might go after the wrong person. Maybe a Leafy is here ripoff. I'm just saying what I'm giving you is the nice version, but other people, oh boy, they might roast you. You might want to start doing your video scripted, or maybe download Speakonia and start talking with that. There was a comment left on one of Fluid's videos that I think sums up this entire thing. Oh yeah, one more thing about this guy that I forgot to add. Guess how much of my video he covered? Only the beginning part and the part about electrobes. I'm not even joking. That's all he covers. He doesn't even cover 5 minutes of the video. Now, some of you might think this guy is a troll. Well, he isn't. One of my fans, who is apparently friends with the guy in real life, did a video on him. Because they were both small YouTubers, I decided I would stay out of it. But Doodletones jumped right in.
A commentary regarding a video I disowned. And not only that, but he misses the point and blindly agrees with the person I commentated on.
This is something that Doodletones and the other commentators keep saying. They keep calling my fans blind followers. Now, this might come as a shocker to you, but maybe, just maybe, you guys are wrong. Would you even be willing to entertain that idea?
Here's the thing. This is regarding the shitstorm currently going on as the Just a Robot commentary I did. Something I personally want to fade out like my TP commentary.
So you want it to fade out, but you keep bringing it up. Genius idea there!
But whatever. The thing is, while I don't disagree with the main points of the Just a Robot commentary that he did on me, the voice point is one that has been severely irking me because it's such a simple point. Everyone is blowing out of proportions.
So right now she's saying that she really only has one problem with my video. But in a different video, which I'll be covering towards the end, she brings up a whole laundry list of problems she has with my video. It's bad for Pikachu Gamer 64 to complain about someone using Spikonia, but it's a-okay for you to complain about me using a robot voice. You're such a hypocrite.
Okay, why you tell you such a hypocrite? Because I still have no problem acting like the voice issues and no problem for the Spikonia issues.
Clearly, Dan, you didn't get what he was talking about, because what he was saying is Doodletones was a hypocrite for making fun of his voice when Pikachu Gamer was making fun of her voice. He was just pointing out the obvious.
It's stupid because all three of you missed the point of the statement Jar was covering here. See, that dreaded voice point was to point out his delivery, not the voice itself. I can understand Jar maybe misunderstanding it, but fucking hell, Dan Matt and Conundrum, you two should know better.
Really, Doodletone? Are you that desperate to discredit me?
I expected this from the guy who could calculate the joules per energy of a cargo to get this wrong, but not the guy who can barely structure a sentence.
To address the whole ad hominem crap too, there is a difference between what Pikachu was doing to steal the hedgehog and what I was doing to just a robot. Pikachu tried using Spikonia as a way to discredit Steal the Hedgehog, whereas I was pointing out a subjective point within Just a Robot's presentation. It wasn't at all to discredit him, which is why I got it out of the way early, before the points started coming in.
I really don't see how Pikachu Gamer was trying to discredit Steel by saying, use your real voice. If Pikachu brought it up at the beginning of his video, would it not be an ad hominem attack? Also, what about the stuff you said earlier about me in this video? It really sounds to me like you're trying to discredit me. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm okay with people insulting me, but if you have a problem with someone insulting someone else, then you go on to insult other people, I do have a problem with that.
And you just go on putting Just a Robot on a high pedestal because he's a fucking political commentator.
Doodletones, serious question. If I was a gaming channel, would you say, you're only agreeing with him because he's a gamer? You know she so badly wants to use the argument, you're only agreeing with him because he has more subscribers. But, oh wait, you can't say that, can you?
I won't defend my commentary. I disowned it for a reason.
You say that, but later you're going to go on to defend it. Alright, let's look at the next video.
Just a robot.
010110010110111.
Oh, nice. We have a bunch of robophobia. Talking to a robot in binary would be like me walking up to a human and going, hoo, 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 hoo. It's an ancient language. Stop acting like we all speak it.
Stop the taste of revenge so sweet. Can you feel it? Can you feel it?
Okay, so from this opening, I don't think this guy is an immature 12-year-old. I think he's a 14-year-old who just started puberty. Also, I think there might be a microphone screen bandit on the loose, because a lot of people seem to be missing their microphone screens.
Point 20. To cover the intro,
we need to find the microphone screen bandit and bring him to justice.
and also, can you sound any more unenthusiastic? I know it's part of your character and all, but I've seen AIs from sci-fi games have better time emoting than you. Cortana and Edie, for example.
Oh, I'm sorry I'm not as good as professional voice actors, one of which is the second biggest character on the biggest Xbox game.
At least be more blunt with your points. There are a few examples I can give out, but all I can say is, don't just go into too much detail.
You, gonna explain why there, friend?
It almost looks like Doodletone is talking to him. Don't go into too much detail. You, gonna explain why there, friend? I love how that turned out.
Allahu Akbar. Oh god, my ears are the agony! This is another problem I have with this video. You don't edit the audio.
Okay, you know what? That's a good point. I really should work on editing my audio more. Groudon created the land in the Pokemon world, not the land in our world. Do you even know what you're talking about anymore?
Apparently not you, considering the points you trip over. Groundon is considered to be land itself. It's even said it's so powerful that it can create land and destroy it. Well, at least according to the Wikipedia page. So yes, God of the Land would probably be considered one of its titles.
Yes, I am aware that Groudon is the god of land in his world, but in this world, he did not create the land. Let me give you an example to make this simpler for you. So Ra is the sun god in his world, but then he decided to go on vacation and went to a different dimension, and that dimension was the Equestria dimension. Now guess what? In that world, he is not the sun god. Celestia is.
But, more to the point, water causes not only issues to civilization. If you want to take out civilization issues, then it can cause issues with erosion too. It can also kill all the plant life out on Earth. If Kyogre fucking comes in with a flood, that wouldn't be out of place in the Pokemon Old Testament. And sure, while he breaks the rules of his own list, I'm not faulting you there. However, what I can fault you for is, if you're only including natural issues,
The entire Earth being covered in water is not a natural issue.
You are taking into account tsunamis, right? Those things are considered natural, and that seems to do damage. And I mean a lot of damage. Not bringing up any examples. But those things could cause floods. So, if one big one hits us, we're screwed.
There is so much wrong with this statement. So I start off by saying that the entire Earth flooding is not a natural issue. Then he says, hey, tsunamis are natural. Well, yeah, I know that. I'm not arguing against that. I'm arguing against the entire Earth flooding. And what do you mean by if a big enough tsunami hits us, we're screwed? How did you come to that conclusion? Do you even know how tsunamis work? It would make sense if you said, if a big enough meteorite hits us, we're screwed. But I don't think you understand how tsunamis work.
well, I'm glad you actually have some logic in you. You can't really argue with a god that has shown himself to the world. However, what is with that random question at the end? Does it have anything to do with Carlos Mango or whatever had to say?
Actually, it does have to do with the video. You conveniently didn't put the clip in the video, but don't worry, I have it right here.
I don't see how this has anything to do with this. She was just questioning the substance. You asked about the size of the galaxy, and yet after that you played a clip to rebuttal her that had nothing to do with the points you made.
Then why aren't you playing the clip, asshole? It's pretty damn obvious that I was making a joke, and it had everything to do with what she was talking about. The guy who made the top 11 list said that Blastoise cannons can rip through solid steel. If they were increased by 50%, they could destroy the world, and that was just ridiculous. So I decided to make a joke asking the guy, if the universe was 50% smaller, would it be the size of a galaxy? Because if you know anything about how percentage works, that's just ridiculous. Doodletone asked if this had anything to do with the video. So I said, yes, it did, and I played the clip, which she edited out of her video.
Also this.
Oh god, it's funny every single time.
I absolutely love how unentertaining you can get. You have to resort to using media clips. This only works if you're funny yourself, and I fail to see a single joke made by you in this video. It's almost as if you're leeching off those clips, just to be given some entertainment value.
Once again, you don't play the clip, so there's no context. They weren't laughing at something I said. They were laughing at the other guy for talking about how Blastoise cannons increased by 50% could destroy the world. Second, I love how you said you have to resort to media clips. This coming from the guy who takes a whole bunch of pictures of Punisher to make his video look good. And before a bunch of people say, hey, didn't you get your old robot picture from the internet? Well, yes, I did. However, it was only like one picture, and I don't even use it anymore. And I love how you said, it's almost as if you're leeching off of those clips. I barely use them, so how am I leeching off of them?
However, it's only making me want to click the X button on my browser more. Not only that though, it's lazy. At least try to
Do the jump cut.
And I'm ending it here. The rest is just a science lesson which isn't entertaining one bit.
By that, he means it was too complicated for him to understand. Here are my final thoughts on you. When I saw you were doing a commentary on my only video that was about an anime, and I saw you had a profile picture that looked like this, here was my reaction.
Ah yes, the weeaboos back at it again.
Before watching this crappy commentary by this weeaboo, I was having a pretty good day. I got my body waxed, I got new butt plates, and someone made a fan video about me.
And here we have a Filthy Frank clip which adds no substance other than to insult her, implying that your day's ruined because, oh no, someone's disagreed with me.
No, I was implying that my day was ruined because I saw a piece of shit video.
And the rest I didn't really care about. In general, I don't really think you're a completely bad commentator, and I can at least respect you.
Sorry, dude, but I definitely don't think the same way about you.
But when you do shit like this, you need to make your points more blunt, try to come up with your own jokes without resorting to media clips, and don't call someone out and then do the same thing later on in this video.
He's talking about the ad hominem thing, and he doesn't even know it, but he's making the exact same argument I was making.
And that's all I have to say in this video. This has been David, and I am your true saviour.
If you're the savior, then I don't want to see what the destroyer is. The next person we're going to cover is Nihilistic Snake. Now I'm only going to cover 2 of his points, mainly because 2 other commentators already talked about him and they did a pretty good job. I'll link their video down below. Nihilistic Snake has a pretty bad reputation. Most of the commentary community doesn't like him, and he was even roasted by the drunken peasants. Let's see if we can ruin his reputation even more.
And I'm no math whiz either, but if you increase the power of something that can rip through solid steel by 50%, then you'd be able to pierce through diamonds, the hardest substance on Earth. So there could be a chance of Armageddon if we calculate this just right.
Ah, yes. When you calculate bullshit just right. There's so much wrong with what he said, it's actually kind of hard to figure out where to start. First of all, diamond is not the hardest material known to man. Graphene is. Second, even if diamond was the strongest material known to man, it's actually quite easy to shatter. There's a difference between hardness and toughness. Game Theory talked about this in one of their Minecraft videos, so I'll link that down below. Now for those of you who are wondering just how much stronger graphene is than steel, well, graphene is over 300 times stronger than steel. Yeah, that's a bit more than 50%. As for what you said about calculating this just right to equal Armageddon, that's just fucking stupid! And before Nihilistic Snake said any of this, he said this.
But if she's not good at math, then she wouldn't be able to argue with you and therefore look like a total idiot. You kind of want to avoid doing that when arguing.
So, if you want to try to avoid doing it, then why did you do it? Also, if anyone wants to know more about graphene, Film Theory did a video on it, which I'll link down below. And for all those commentators who say my fans are just blindly following me, I just gave you an example of why my fans actually follow me. It's because I do this little thing called giving proof. Woo. Another problem I have with Nihilistic Snake's video is he tries to make such a low blow and completely fails at it. I don't think it's ever implied in any of the shows or any of the games that Ditto can transform into something that big or that far away.
Well, no, but there's nothing that implies Electro's explosion is comparable to that of a grenade either.
Allahu Akbar.
Zekheil.
Now most of you probably don't know what's going on. The thing about Nihilistic Snake is, he is an Arab. Now my Muslim joke wasn't directed at him, or anyone for that matter, it was just a joke. But he took it personally, so he decided to make a Nazi joke directed at me. Why? Because he thinks I'm German. But the thing is, I'm actually not. This is actually not my account. The guy who gave me this account is German, but I am not. So I will say, it was a nice try. But unfortunately for you, I'm not German. Now, Nihilistic Snake is not completely terrible. He does make one good point. We have plasma cutters that are far hotter than Macargo.
Celsius? Celsius? How fucking retarded are you? Your grammar is fucking awful! Just for that, I refuse to take you seriously.
Now there is a bit of a story on how I made such a basic grammar mistake. I was working on a friend's computer, and I did make the grammar mistake. I uploaded the video, but I put it on private. I do that with my videos because I like to double check them. I did catch the mistake and re-downloaded the video, which is why this video has such poor quality. I did fix the mistake, however I did not save it properly. So when I re-uploaded the video, I did not catch the mistake. But despite all of that, that's still no excuse. I really should have caught that. Okay, let's take a look at Doodletones' video that got me back into this whole thing.
So an ex-co-op partner and a diva of a punching bag do a commentary on a bandwagon that did a commentary of an ex-target of mine that did a commentary on me that started a huge war in the comments section that has gone on to be the second most thumbed down video on my channel.
And I'm doing a commentary on top of that. So is there like a limit of how many commentaries we can do? Because there's so many layers of commentaries that it's getting kind of ridiculous.
And so I come back to hit them both because I feel this is a bit of unfinished business. And in case you couldn't follow along, this has to do with the ever so infamous Just a Robot commentary I did back in June.
And also because you just have to get the last word in, don't you?
I feel like a little disclaimer is going to be needed here. I wasn't going to make this video. Okay, I was, but it collided with my top 10 overrated games list. And since at the time Movie Maker was all I had, I can only get one project out or the other. I ultimately went with the top 10 since I started working on that one already. So I sent my lines, scripts, and avatar pics to Henry, who agreed to edit it for me. He ended up taking too long, and eventually I decided to edit it on my own with Shotcut. I originally wanted this video to go up in June, but obviously that didn't happen. Also, I wrote my script the day I watched this video. I'm spiteful and stubborn, and I wasn't gonna let this opportunity fly by.
Okay, so let me understand this. You wrote this script when you first saw Jar's response to Doodle. That response was released on June 15th of 2016. Now, that's about a month of time, which could have been used to show the script to others so you could have had quality control, allowing for rewrites, edits, revisions, reshoots, anything you'd see an average commentator scripting checklist have. But you didn't do that, did you, Satanic Ekans?
To add on to that, why exactly are you getting your panties in a twist over this? I mean, I understand if you think you owe Doodle or something, but really, why still hold this grudge? Especially when the two who were in the midst of all of this decided to end the nonsense within a week or two of it starting.
He's, spiteful and stubborn. You listen to Mr. A, he kind of explains what's what in the disclaimer.
I could say something about this, but I would rather use my clone of Nihilistic Snake. Oh, Nihilistic Snake clone, get in here!
I told this to Jake Spider-Monkey 1994, and I'll tell you too. Pointing out your problems doesn't make them go away.
Make sure you clean your ears before commentating, else you wind up like me earlier in this very chain that we're talking about.
Every commentator that I have talked about, take notes, because you really need it. 11 Pokemon that could destroy the world? Well, that doesn't sound so bad.
Okay, this is going to seriously bother me if I don't bring this up here. I get it, you're trying to be a robot, that's your character. The way you speak is great. It's as if you're a child trying to sound incredibly cool, but you wind up sounding more edgy than anything. It makes me want to play dodgeball in traffic.
It's always great when people start off a commentary with an ad hominem attack. Now, normally I don't care about ad hominem attacks, but the thing is, Doodletone does.
You would show off your real voice instead of using Spittonia. Use a different program. Or better yet, use your real voice.
Returning viewers will definitely know this, but the whole use your real voice argument seriously gets on my nerves. Same goes for these show us your real face arguments. None of these critiques debunk anything anyone has to say. Instead, this is what is known as an ad hominem, which is basically something directed at a person instead of the argument that they hold.
So it's bad for Pikachu Gamer 64 to complain about someone using Spittonia, but it's a-okay for you to complain about me using a robot voice. You're such a hypocrite.
No, she is not a hypocrite. What you just showed actually works in her favor. Her complaint against Pikachu Gamer was that he was pulling the use your real voice argument. Doodletones was criticizing your robot voice because she thought the way you were doing it is annoying. She wasn't complaining that you weren't using your real voice. So, honestly, she's perfectly fine.
What?
Snake, why she criticized the robot voice doesn't change the fact it can be viewed as an ad hominem attack, as in both instances it's the commentator complaining about how the presenter presents their voice.
Which is, as described by Doodle in her commentary on Pikachu Gamer, is essentially an attack on the person and not their argument, aka an ad hominem attack.
Yes! Finally! Someone gets it! Now let's see how Doodletones fucks this up.
Well, looks like I'm gonna need to snap some necks already. Alright, the difference between what I did to Jar and what Pikachu did to Steal the Hedgehog is I was giving criticism towards Just a Robot's delivery and the way he speaks. If both you boobs had at all paid attention to my second commentary on the conundrum, that much should have been obvious. Whereas what Pikafuck did was just tell Steele to straight up use the real voice, which is not a criticism but an attack on the fact that Steele had even used Speakonia. The start of this whole crusade against me covering people's delivery and audio quality has even started on a total misunderstanding of what I was doing, and the next person I see go off a said misunderstanding to call me a fucking hypocrite is getting shoved into a bonfire. There's a metric fuck ton of difference between criticizing someone's delivery and telling them to fix it and telling someone to just straight up use their real voice. The difference is one is disregarding everything someone says based off of their voice, whereas the other is telling someone to fix a small thing.
Okay, Doodletone, where did you tell me to fix it? All you said was, the way you speak is grating. It's as if you're a child trying to sound incredibly cool, but you wind up sounding more edgy than anything. It makes me want to play dodgeball in traffic. What I did with MGTOW Gangster is I told him where he can get a good microphone to improve himself. And also, where did Pikachu Gamer disregard what Steele was saying? All he said was, use your real voice instead of using Speakonia. He didn't say, because you're using Speakonia, I cannot take you seriously. Now, Nihilistic Snake said something like that to me. Who, by the way, you are defending right now.
Also, the repercussions of killing a god that created the land we stand on is definitely something to take into account.
Whoa, what?
Also, the repercussions of killing a god that created the land we stand on is definitely something to take into account.
Groudon created the land in the Pokemon world, not the land in our world. Do you even know what you're talking about anymore?
Oh, calm your circuitry, you know what she meant. And that still doesn't negate her argument that killing Groudon would be pretty disastrous.
Does he? Does he really know? Does he, Christian Elephant? Because if he did know, then I don't think this point would be here.
Also, playing devil's advocate for Jar here, it does refute the argument as the Pokemon world and our world are different. Sure, Doodle was arguing based on us being in the Pokemon world, but Jar was arguing based on them being separate. And that's not even taking into account you didn't even try to refute the point he made.
Another thing that I'm surprised no one pointed out is the fact that this is a joke on my end played straight, but whatever, let's take it seriously for this argument, shall we?
Oh my god, you're trying so desperately to damage control. How was it a joke in any way? And by that I don't mean I didn't find it funny. By that I mean I don't even see the attempt at humor. And also you said it's definitely something to take into account.
Also, the repercussions of killing a god that created the land we stand on is definitely something to take into account, more to the point. Water causes not only issues to civilization. If you want to take out civilization issues, then it can cause issues with erosion too. It can also kill all the plant life out on Earth. If Kyogre fucking comes in with a flood, that wouldn't be out of place in the Pokemon Old Testament. And sure, while he breaks the rules of his own list, I'm not faulting you there. However, what I can fault you for is, if you're only including natural issues,
the entire Earth being covered in water is not a natural issue.
Yes it is, you fucking retard. Water is a part of nature.
Hey Sloth, remember that word clarification? Yeah, you're not doing it again. I mean, it's not too hard to argue Jar's point. Heck, I bet Mr. Awesome could do it for you right now if he tried.
Having knowledge of events in the Christian Bible, if we take into account Noah's flood, then technically the world has been flooded before. And we're still here.
See, Sloth, now that's a decent point. That can argue Jar's point. But you're a nihilist, I remember. Your name clearly tells us. So I assume you don't believe that actually happened. In which case, I must ask, how is the world flooding a freaking natural thing? Your entire point can be summed up as, herb de derp, water exists! And by that logic, the whole world can burn like a blazing sun, cause fire exists. And I doubt you're the chosen one. Hell, I ain't bragging, cause you are no American dragon. Oh, God, what has my life become?
You know what? All of you missed my point. You missed the point, you missed the point, you missed the point, and yes, Jar, you even missed the point.
And this was the point where I decided to come back into this little drama.
See, I was saying that if we were only looking at natural issues, then we'd have to take out unnatural solutions, basically taking civilization completely out of the question, which was thus another argument towards his nuke Groudon point earlier in the video. He basically took me out of context to put himself in the right, and I could not believe I didn't notice this until this video. You're all arguing an argument that doesn't even exist, as my point had nothing to do with the Earth flooding being a natural issue. Kyogre can do a lot of damage to the Earth as it is. Try again.
You fucking liar. I did not take you out of context, and you know it. My argument was, if Kyogre flooded the Earth, it wouldn't be destroyed. And then you said this.
However, what I can fault you for is if you're only including natural issues.
So you just said, if you're only including natural issues, which guess what? The entire Earth being covered in water is not a natural issue. And just because you said this stuff afterwards...
Kyogre can do a lot of damage to the Earth as it is. Try again.
Doesn't help your position at all. Can Kyogre do a lot of damage to the Earth as it is? Probably. But it doesn't matter. The argument is, can Kyogre destroy the Earth, yes or no? Not, how much damage can Kyogre do?
Math isn't my strong suit, so I'll be skipping the last choice segment.
You have got to be kidding me. It doesn't matter if math is your strong suit or not. What he's saying is so blatantly wrong. He's saying that something that can rip through solid steel, increased by 50%, can destroy the Earth. That's like saying 1 plus 2 equals 420 octillion.
But if she's not good at math, then she wouldn't be able to argue with you and therefore look like a total idiot. You kind of want to avoid doing that when arguing. And I know math was either, but if you increase the power of something that can rip through solid steel by 50%, then you'd be able to pierce through diamonds, the hardest substance on Earth. So there could be a chance of Armageddon if we calculate this just right.
Hey Venom, Jar's point wasn't that Doodle should try to argue his math regardless. The bucket of bolts was saying that it should be clear as day that something like this couldn't destroy the Earth, given the evidence he's refuting. Pay attention, and as Doodle would say, try again.
Die. Honestly, you're basically putting me into this position where I have to defend both a video I disown and nihilistic snake. Do not steal my catchphrase to pour salt in the wound. That's fucked up. On that note, even if it is quote-unquote as clear as day, that doesn't change the fact that Just a Robot is jumping down my throat for accepting what he says at face value. I didn't at all question it because, as I said in the first video, math isn't my strong suit. So basically, Jar is getting on my case for agreeing with him and not challenging his math. He's getting on my case for not arguing a point I cannot argue with.
Okay, first of all, Doodletones, you did not agree or disagree with me. Doodletones, the reason why I was so angry was because it really doesn't matter if math is your strong suit or not. All you really need is the most basic understanding of math to understand that this is complete bullshit. I'll give you an example of what I mean. Here's a clip from Rick and Morty.
Okay, if we add a little more titanium nitrate and just a tad of chlorified tartrate... Ovenless brownies!
So, Doodletones, do you think something with titanium nitrate in it could create ovenless brownies, or are you gonna say that chemistry isn't your strong suit?
Seeing as it's approximately 2 times hotter than the sun if my grade school math is correct.
He's only twice as hot as the surface of the sun. Here's how hot the sun's core is.
The sun alone, if it was closer to our Earth, hell, the sun as it is now can cause wildfires in Colorado, I should know this firsthand. Imagining what it would do if it was closer to the Earth makes me wonder how can you argue this point is...
Just because something is as hot as something doesn't mean it's as powerful. The sun is several times bigger than the Earth, and Macargo is the size of a dog.
It would depend on how many Macargos there are. If there was only one Macargo on Earth, then yeah, it wouldn't destroy the Earth. But if there were enough to encircle the planet, then yeah, we'd all be dead.
A few Macargos that are scattered few and far between on this thing we call an Earth.
That's not even accounting for the ratio of wild Macargos to ones nestled in Pokeballs. From what I can tell, if worse comes to worse, we'd have a bunch of wildfires caused by dog-sized lava snails.
Okay, I just want to step in here real quick. So, I actually agree with the point Doodletones is about to make, but the guy who made the original list was arguing that one Macargo could destroy the Earth. Now, if there was a few million Macargos, yes, the Earth would actually be destroyed, because the sheer amount of heat would eat up all the oxygen in the air. And if there was enough oxygen to sustain them, the air would light on fire.
Wait, Mr. A, I thought this argument was based on real life, not Pokemon life. We don't have fully functioning Pokeballs in real life, so you must be arguing Pokemon life, right? Oops. Oh, and if being a hypocrite does debunk Snake's point, as you and MDXLR here have been implying throughout this whole video, then guess whose argument is invalidated, bitch? And even if we are taking into account that being a hypocrite doesn't make you wrong, the fact that we are arguing real life makes your point wrong from the word go. Also, if I may argue a bit more, if the worst thing that could happen is that there'd be a bunch of forest fires caused by Macargo, then guess whose point you're arguing for? That's right, you're arguing my side of the argument. The one I'm pretty certain Jar and I both agree was fucking retarded.
So that's all of Doodletones' video that I will be covering. So you probably think it's over, right? Nope. There's still one more person I need to talk about, and I have been saving the worst for last.
Say, remember when Doodles made that commentary on this Just a Robot fellow? Yeah, he responded in the video as dumb as you think, that's why we're here, roll it.
Okay, this doesn't look too bad so far. His microphone quality is pretty good, and he has the best voice so far. But trust me, it's gonna go downhill fast. Also, your voice is not the best either, and I'm not the only one who thinks so.
So, today I'm doing a commentary on a commentary to a review.
Oh, goody. Another commentator that has a voice changer for one reason or another and doesn't realize how distracting and somewhat annoying the high pitch is. I mean, seriously, in what realm do you think that it's a good idea to sacrifice your quality for whatever reason you can cook up for raising the pitch so high? I mean, really, the only reason I can make sense for why one would want to do this is if it was done ironically or for a character, and even then, the latter's kind of pushing it.
Okay, cool. One other person agrees with you. Really doesn't prove anything since it's just one person as opposed to several different people. But nah, this is Ryan we're talking about here, so everything he says alone has to be the end-all be-all, right?
So Rainbow Dash seems to think that I think that Ryan's word is law. Now, at first this confused me, but apparently Ryan is like a big deal in his community. But to be perfectly honest, this is like the only video of Ryan's that I have seen. Also, I said I'm not the only one who thinks so. All I need is one more. But if you want me to give you some more proof, here you go.
Am I doing an ad hominem again? I'm sorry, this guy's microphone sounds like he's gargling marbles, and it makes it excruciatingly difficult to understand at times. I'd suggest go to the local Walmart, dish out 3 Lincolns, and get yourself a microphone that's a bit clearer. You really need it if you're gonna do anything video related.
A crusty voice modifier out of your asshole and use your natural voice like I do.
But seriously, how many people do you want? 30?
I was really hoping that you would be smart enough to not pull the hypocrisy card like a lot of commentators have done. But since you're apparently not, I guess I gotta explain this really obvious notion. Being a hypocrite does not make you wrong. Being a hypocrite does not invalidate your point. This in no way, shape, or form combats Doodle's original point that your robotic voice is unpleasant to listen to, i.e. something you admitted to by the end of this interjection. The too long didn't read version, you just pulled the Tukakui fallacy on top of making an ad hominem attack about her voice that doesn't really amount to anything except for a no you argument.
I never said it invalidated her point, or anything like that. In fact, I do agree with her point. My voice is unpleasant to listen to. However, I think I'm totally justified in saying the same thing about her. I'm sure you're familiar with the term, the pot calling the kettle black. But let me give you an example. Imagine if someone told me that me speeding up certain clips in my video was bad, but then they did the same thing in their video, but they did it way more often. I think I'm justified in calling them a hypocrite.
I didn't want to end with this one.
Electrobe? Really?
Nor did I want to lead with it, or put it in the middle. I know this isn't a top 10, but you always have to save the best for last, and I wasn't sure if this one was the best, or the worst.
It's the worst, dude.
You gonna explain why there, friend? I mean, saying that Electrode is just the worst Pokemon to choose for this list without explanation is rather unfortunate. I mean, you must know something I don't. Inform me, because as far as I'm concerned, Electrode isn't even the worst electric-type Pokemon for this list.
When I say it's the worst, I'm not saying it's the worst Pokemon ever. I'm saying it's the worst Pokemon on this list. Pay attention to what he says before I say it's the worst.
I know this isn't a top 10, but you always have to save the best for last, and I wasn't sure if this one was the best, or the worst.
If you want me to elaborate why it's the worst Pokemon on this list, he says this about it.
One Electrode alone would not be enough to destroy the world.
He doesn't say that about any of the other Pokemon, just Electrobe.
Okay, so I went back and watched your original Pokemon video. You bring up how this is the worst entry between 48 and 53 seconds in your original video, and then the part where he says that one Electrode isn't enough to destroy the world was found to be between 1 minute and 25 seconds and 1 minute and 28 seconds in your original video, i.e. the latter didn't come up until 40 seconds after you brought up how Electrode was the worst entry on the list.
You piece of shit liar! Let's play the clip again, shall we?
I didn't want to end with this one.
Electrobe? Really?
Nor did I want to lead with it, or put it in the middle. I know this isn't a top 10, but you always have to save the best for last, and I wasn't sure if this one was the best, or the worst.
It's the worst, dude. That clip played from 42 seconds to 53 seconds. The guy said, you have to save the best for last, and I don't know if this was the best, or the worst. And I said, it's the worst. Then Doodletone proceeds to say, it's not even the worst electric-type Pokemon. So I told her to pay attention to what he said before I said it's the worst. We're not talking about the worst Pokemon ever. We're talking about the worst Pokemon on the list. As for this part...
And then the part where he says that one Electrode isn't enough to destroy the world was found to be between 1 minute and 25 seconds and 1 minute and 28 seconds in your original video.
I did not say that part came before I said, it's the worst. Before I played that clip, I said, if you want me to elaborate more on why I think it's the worst Pokemon on this list. In other words, I was making a different point. If you're going to twist my words around, at the very least edit my video in a way that makes it look like I'm contradicting myself. Here, I'll do it for you. When I say it's the worst, I'm not saying it's the worst Pokemon ever. I'm saying it's the worst Pokemon on this list. Pay attention to what he says before I say it's the worst.
And one Electrode alone would not be enough to destroy the world.
He doesn't say that about any of the other Pokemon, just Electrode. The magic of editing, folks.
So, not only are you essentially admitting you made an extremely poorly placed point that no one would have caught on to had you not brought this information up, but you didn't actually tackle a point how you yourself didn't explain why Electro is the worst. Something you yourself admitted to doing here. You know, I just love it when a commentator knows they messed up, but they try so desperately to cover it up. It's always an amusing thing to behold.
First of all, plenty of people could catch on to that. Don't assume that everybody is as dumb as you. Second, she said elaborate more. So I elaborated more. Is that a crime now? I'm not saying that excuses my mistake in my original video where I should have elaborated more, but hey, better late than never.
All the Electrodes started blowing up, they definitely could.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Go back! You are seriously complaining about me fast-forwarding? You're fast-forwarding through this entire video! Oh wait, I can't point that out, or I'm doing the Tukakui fallacy. But guess what? That fast-forwarding part? Yeah, that's not from my video. That's originally from Doodletones' video. So congratulations, you tried so desperately to make a point and all you hit was yourself and Doodletones. If every Electrobe's explosion was the size of a few megatons, then yeah, they could possibly destroy the world, but Electrobe explosions are the size of grenade explosions. If every single grenade on Earth blew up, yeah, it would cause quite a lot of damage, but nowhere near enough to destroy the world.
Evidence, please. I mean, the burden of proof is on you. I can't find shit on that claims Electrode's explosions are the size of grenades.
Well then, let's take a look at a few Electrobe explosions. Okay, so our first example didn't do any damage to the laboratory or Professor Oak, but maybe the Electrobe was just a low level. Let's take a look at some others.
I choose you. Train that thing.
Electrode!
Okay, this explosion was pretty big. However, you could make the argument that the explosion was a combined effort of the Electrobe and the hot air balloon's fuel tank. Let's do two more. Now do you understand that Electrobe explosions are around the size of grenade explosions, or do you need more proof?
Okay, two problems with this. One, you're trying to apply cartoon logic to the real world. You know, the kind of logic that is the exact opposite of real world logic, especially given that Professor Oak and Team Rocket would have been fucking dead if real world logic was applied here, so fuck you.
So what you're saying is, if real world logic was applied, they'd be dead. Interesting. Do you know what would happen if a grenade hit you and real-world logic was applied? You'd be dead! Seriously, do I have to explain everything to you? Also, it's not cartoon logic, it's anime logic!
And two, this does not discredit Doodle's original point that you did not give any examples in your original video and essentially ask people to take your word for it. In fact, the only reason you're showing examples now is because you got caught on this shit by Doodle and you're now trying to cover it up.
No, I just expected people to know a little bit about the anime. If you have ever seen an Electrobe explosion, you know it's around the size of a grenade. Should I also explain that Pokemon is an anime, just in case people don't know that? Seriously, I shouldn't have to hold everyone's hand across the street.
We've seen the Pokemon world endure a lot of things, but one thing that almost destroyed it was the battle between this monster and its nemesis, Kyogre. I personally think that Groudon could destroy our world by merely being on it for a full day, if not less. This Pokemon is pretty much land itself. And what do we live on? Land. Volcanoes would erupt everywhere, earthquakes would be unmeasurable, and continents would break apart. You wanna know the scarier thing though? Groudon doesn't even have to go primal for any of it.
Well, if Groudon didn't destroy the Pokemon world, then what makes you think he can destroy our world?
Again, logic works differently in the Pokemon world. May I bring up the fact that Macargo can be hugged?
That is true, but maybe Macargo just doesn't want to burn her.
Cartoon logic still doesn't equate to real-world logic. Your argument is invalid. Go away.
Okay, first of all, you edited out my clips explaining this. Dude, that's really fucking low. Second, yes, the Pokemon world and the real world are very different. However, it is very reasonable to assume that if fire Pokemon can prevent their flames from hurting other people in their world, then they could do the same in our world. As soon as he even starts to erupt volcanoes, America would just nuke him.
I mean, I could bring up the fact that Groudon is practically the god of land, bring up several hypotheticals that put you in an awkward position, or I could just take the easy way out and point to its Pokemon Emerald Pokédex entry where it says it just awakening this thing causes volcanoes to erupt.
Yeah, but how many volcanoes will erupt? 50? 500? All of them? All of them? The thing is, the Pokédex just says that volcanoes will erupt. Not all the volcanoes will erupt.
Her point is that if Groudon can make volcanoes erupt by just awakening him, then who knows what kind of damage he could do if he was nuked. Thus, just nuking Groudon would be considered an insanely hasty decision. How's that a very difficult thing for you to catch on to?
If monster movies are anything to go off of, America would be like, kill it at all cost, hit it with everything we got. As for the part where you said, who knows what could happen if we nuke Groudon? Well, that's just pure speculation. We don't really know what would happen. However, I'm 90% sure it would be blown to pieces.
Also, the repercussions of killing a god that created the land we stand on is definitely something to take into account.
Whoa, what?
Also, the repercussions of killing a god that created the land we stand on is definitely something to take into account.
Groudon created the land in the Pokemon world, not the land in our world.
Does not change the fact that if Groudon hypothetically existed in our world, as opposed to the Pokemon world, he would be a god that created the land in our world, and that it would be something to take into account when nuking Groudon, which again, would be an insanely hasty decision due to the fact that we don't know what kind of repercussions we would have to deal with if we killed what is essentially a god. And if you're familiar with myths and legends about someone killing a god, then you know that there is a high chance that repercussions will follow as a result of killing said god. So who's to say that the same wouldn't apply to Groudon in this case?
Then it wouldn't be our world anymore. Everything would be different. History would be different, the continents would be different, technology would take a different path, every religion would be structured around Groudon, and if North Korea still existed, they would claim that they created him. Stop changing the rules. The list was about if a Pokemon came to our world.
The area would be similar to the one with Groudon, except oceans would overflow, thunderstorms would cause massive damage, and tsunamis would destroy everything. Kyogre doesn't need to go primal for any of it either.
Now, I could use the same argument I used for Groudon, but I'm going to do something else this time. Earlier in the video, you said this.
I'm talking about the actual destruction of the Earth, not humanity.
Now, if the Earth was flooded, it wouldn't be destroyed. It would just be, well, covered in water. What even is your definition of being destroyed? This is my definition of being destroyed.
Large amounts of flooding can't destroy the Earth until it does. Storms can't cause damage until they do.
Doodletones does this a lot. She seems to think me saying that something won't destroy the Earth equals it won't do any damage at all, which is completely false.
Except that you said, and I quote, if the world was flooded, it wouldn't be destroyed, it would just, well, be covered in water. The way you worded it made it sound like that natural disasters involving water wouldn't do any real damage when that's not true.
Seriously? The way I said it? Come on, man.
On top of that, if the world was flooded, it would destroy the world in the sense that it would become uninhabitable to humans and potentially other life forms that may be out there, since the shit that Earth would need in order to continue to be inhabitable would be destroyed, particularly trees, which is what gives the Earth its oxygen.
You moron! Most oxygen is created by undersea plants such as algae. You seriously didn't know that? Where did you get the idea that trees are the ones that create all our oxygen? The Lorax?
But, more to the point, water causes not only issues with civilization, you want to take out civilization issues, but it can cause issues with erosion too. It can also kill all the plant life on Earth if Kyogre fucking comes in with a flood that would be out of place in the Pokemon Old Testament. And sure, while he breaks the rules of his own list, I'm not faulting you there. However, what I can fault you for is, if you're only including natural issues...
The entire Earth being covered in water is not a natural issue.
Except that it is, since it would destroy the plant life on Earth, which includes trees. Hell, she even brought this up herself, and you completely ignore that. Are you just not wanting to pay attention to what she's saying at this point?
What? It's natural because it can destroy trees? Hey guys, Kamehamehas are totally natural because you can destroy trees with them! Nowhere in recorded history has the entire Earth been flooded. Floods happen, yes, but not the entire Earth. Now, before someone says, hey, what about religion? Well, that's still not natural, because that's God using his God powers to flood the Earth.
It doesn't change the fact that Kyogre can do a lot of damage to the Earth as it is. Try again.
My argument isn't Kyogre can't do any damage. My argument is Kyogre can't do enough damage to destroy the Earth.
First of all, you never specified that in your original video. Quit damage controlling.
Bull fucking shit! What even is your definition of being destroyed? This is my definition of being destroyed. So I show what I mean by the Earth being destroyed, and that's not enough! Now if the Earth was flooded, it wouldn't be destroyed. It would just be, well, covered in water. And I also said that Kyogre could cover the entire Earth in water, so yes, he can do damage, but not enough to destroy the Earth!
Second, even if you said that in your original video, you would still be wrong since you would have been ignoring the fact that even the countdown maker himself said that Kyogre could flood the Earth, cause lightning storms, which causes wildfires, and tsunamis that could actually cause the Earth to become uninhabitable. And lastly, you had no basis that Kyogre wouldn't do enough damage to destroy the world to begin with. All you did was say, nah brah, Kyogre couldn't do that much damage because my word is the end-all be-all. Your argument holds no weight.
I love how he thinks I treat my opinion as if though it's fact, but then he turns around and treats his own opinion like fact. Listen, buddy, the most likely way Kyogre could destroy the Earth is by flooding it. And that would wipe out humanity, but we're arguing about destroying the world, not wiping out humanity.
For further clarification, I'm talking about the actual destruction of the Earth, not humanity.
The world would still be inhabited by sea life, therefore it's not uninhabitable.
Arceus, do I even have to explain this one? According to Sinnoh legend, this godly Pokemon created Sinnoh and possibly the entire Pokemon universe. And if that legend is true, it can most definitely destroy a tiny world, along with our entire universe.
I do agree with this point, but I have a small question. Do you think if the universe was 50% smaller, it would be the size of a galaxy? Just asking.
Well, I'm glad you actually have some logic and you can't really argue with a god that has shown himself to the world. However, what is with that random question at the end? Does it have anything to do with Carlos Manga or whatever had to say?
Actually, it does have to do with the video. You conveniently didn't put the clip in the video, but don't worry, I have it right here.
And seeing as how its special attack increases by 50 from 85 to 135 when it Mega Evolves, I don't want to know what the Pokedex would say if it could describe Mega Evolutions. Now this is pure speculation, but I think that Mega Blastoise's cannons could be enough to end the world as we know it.
Oh god, it's funny every single time.
Okay, so you made a really unfunny failed joke about the galaxy that was somehow supposed to connect to Mega Blastoide's increased power as a Mega Evolved Pokemon. Somehow. Why, thank you for explaining your shitty joke. Like, your commentary would be so fucking incomplete had you just scrapped that pointless bullshit that served no purpose except to make a point for the sake of making a point.
Oh my god. Bro, she asked me if it had anything to do with the video, and I answered the question. Why do you always get your panties in a bunch every time I answer a question? Also, it does have to do with her question. Here, I'll play them right next to each other.
And seeing as how its special attack increases by 50 from 85 to 135 when it Mega Evolves, I don't want to know what the Pokedex would say if it could describe Mega Evolutions. Now this is pure speculation, but I think that Mega Blastoise's cannons could be enough to end the world as we know it.
Do you think if the universe was 50% smaller, it would be the size of a galaxy? Just asking. Do you see it? No, of course you don't. Bro, seriously, it doesn't matter if Macargo is alive or not. A nuclear explosion is several million times more dangerous than Macargo, and the sun, well, that's not even a comparison. The guy who made the original list said Macargo could destroy the Earth, not Macargos could destroy the Earth. Also, nihilistic snake clone, get in here.
How fucking retarded are you? Your grammar is fucking awful. Just for that, I refuse to take you seriously.
I feel like we've gone through every possible scenario of how our world could end, but the entire planet freezing? Yeah, I don't think we've covered that yet. Out of all the Ice-type legendary Pokemon, Kyurem is probably the only one that can accomplish that. During Black 2 and White 2, Team Plasma froze Oak Lucid City with the help of Kyurem and some technology. But that's the Pokemon world. If we've learned anything during all of this, it's that the Pokemon world is a lot more resistant than ours. So I have no doubt in my mind that Kyurem could freeze our entire planet and end life as we know.
The only thing we learned so far is that you're an idiot. Even if your argument about the Pokemon world being more resistant than our world was correct, it would have to be a few million times more resistant. Here's the landmass of New York City, and this is the landmass of the entire Earth. You may have noticed that the landmass of the entire Earth is a bit more than 50% bigger than New York City. No, I'm not gonna let that go.
So, the Pokemon world isn't more resistant than a human world.
What? Can you even speak English? My argument isn't the Pokemon world is not more resistant. My argument is, if it is more resistant, it would have to be a few million times more resistant.
Even though that A, you flat out said that in your original video, and B, was the very reason why you made the argument you made in your original video.
The only thing we learned so far is that you're an idiot. Even if your argument about the Pokemon world being more resistant than our world was correct...
Stop cutting off her overall point just to derail from her actual point in an effort to backpedal and actually try to tackle her actual fucking arguments.
Okay, he kind of has a point here. I should have worded that better in my original video. While I did not outright say that the Pokemon world is not more resistant than our world, I can see how someone might have thought I said that. What I meant by that statement was, if the Pokemon world was more resistant, it would have to be a few million times more resistant for his argument to work. But yeah, I should have said that better. But you can't just say something that would destroy a city in one world would destroy the entire planet in another world.
Unless, of course, we're comparing a cartoon world to the real world, in which case, yeah, I think you could say that one world is more resistant than the other. I don't know why you would try to argue against that.
Professor Dreadlock, can you explain this one for me?
Just because something is harder to alter than something else doesn't mean you can pull nonsense out of your ass. If I had enough heat to melt the swimming pool's worth of tungsten, which is one of the hardest things to melt, would you think it was enough heat to melt the city's worth of steel too? Why am I even asking you this? You probably think this is what tungsten looks like.
Also, if the planet did freeze over, humanity still could survive.
That is a complete apple to orange comparison, and you fucking know it. That was during a time period where select parts of the Earth was frozen. There has never been a period in Earth's history where the entire planet as a whole was frozen, despite what those shitty Ice Age films may tell you. And if the entire planet was frozen as a whole, the world would be destroyed in the sense that the ice would kill the plant life, including trees, which we need to survive, coupled with the fact that it would be too fucking cold for most, if not any, life forms to inhabit the Earth by that point. Thus, life on Earth would cease to exist. Why are you trying to debate this?
I assume you're talking about the DreamWorks Ice Age movies. And even in those movies, the entire Earth wasn't frozen over, just certain parts, so I don't know what you're getting at. As for the part where I said humanity still could survive, I really should have gone into more detail. When humanity was primitive, they still could survive in cold climates. But now we have much, much better technology. We have bomb shelters and bunkers with greenhouses, oxygen supplies, and much, much more. Now it is totally possible that humanity couldn't survive if Kyurem makes the planet cold enough. However, we don't know how cold Kyurem could make the planet. The only thing we know about Kyurem's power is he could freeze over an entire city in the Pokemon world. Oh wait, he couldn't even do that. He had help from Team Plasma's technology. And considering that our planet has global warming on top of that, yeah.
Huh, there's a specific Pokemon you didn't discredit that proves you wrong. Wonder who it could be. Oh right, Cargo discredited your whole argument here. Hey Robot, do me a huge favor and go hug the sun. Just give me a rocket ship and fly to the sun, then tell me how their world is more resistant to shit like that.
Just a lightning bolt explosion often exceeds the heat of 90,000 degrees Fahrenheit. That's roughly 5 times hotter than Macargo.
How does that discredit Doodle's original point that the Pokemon world is more resistant than our own world? Stop derailing from her original point and actually address it, you fucking idiot.
Oh my god. This guy thinks he's so smart like Hugh Grant, but he's so stupid like Hugh Grant. My god, your entire video is just you debating an argument I didn't even make. My point is, Macargo can't destroy the Earth. There are plenty of things several times hotter than him. Just because something's really hot doesn't mean it's as powerful as a star.
Final thoughts? Dude, seriously, there is nothing wrong with admitting when you're wrong because it is not humanly possible to be right all the time.
I 100% agree. My comment section is right down there. Just admit you're wrong, and we can put this whole thing behind us.
This is probably one of the most asinine and frustrating videos I've ever covered on my channel.
Right back at you, man.
Dude, drop the ego. You're not as rock solid with your points as you would like to think you are.
Look who's talking! So my final conclusion about this whole thing. It's funny how I can talk about rape, racism, thievery, and a whole bunch of other stuff, and it doesn't create a big drama. However, I talk about Pokemon once, and holy shit, I have a whole bunch of people making videos about me. Calling my fans blind followers, even though they have disagreed with me before. I mean, seriously, at that point you might as well say, you're just a hater. If anyone is going to make a video about me, I do have 3 small requests. 1, this is about if a Pokemon can destroy the world. I don't care if the Pokemon world is more resistant than our world, unless you can prove to me that the Pokemon world is so much more resistant that something that could destroy a city in their world could destroy the entire planet in our world. 2nd, I don't care how much damage it could do, unless of course it can do enough damage to destroy the world. And 3rd, and most importantly, could you make your avatar an Avengers character? Then I can make my avatar Ultron, so we can do like an Avengers thing. That would be fun. My eyes have seen the glory of the cleansing of YouTube. Debunking SJWs and feminazis too. We criticize reactionists in hopes they get the boot. Just the robot marches on.
You had to fucking beg for my attention.